Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking about something that feels bigger than Grand Theft Auto 6. Something that hits the core of gaming itself, because what's happening right now in Mexico could mark the beginning of a new era, and not necessarily a good one for violent video games. Now, we did cover this topic a month ago, but a lot of new information has come out recently, and a lot of you guys here are new as well, so I thought it would be good for a refresher. So after decades of debate, controversy, and moral panic, we're right back where it all started. Governments are targeting violent video games again. Activist groups are stepping up, and all of this is unfolding just months before GTA 6. Today we're diving deep into what that means for Rockstar, for GTA 6, and for gaming as a whole. Because make no mistake, this could be the end of an era. You know, when you really think about it, this has all happened before. Back in the 1990s, gaming was the new frontier, the rebellious younger sibling of film and television. And when something new and disruptive comes along, society always finds a way to try to control it. It all started with Mortal Kombat, Doom, and Night Trap. Politicians were horrified by pixelated blood and cheesy FMV horror scenes. They called congressional hearings, parents were outraged, and it all led to one thing: the ESRB, the rating system that still dictates how games are labeled today. But even after that, people needed a villain, and that villain became Grand Theft Auto. Every generation had its scapegoat, and Rockstar was at the center of it. From the Jack Thompson lawsuits to the infamous hot coffee scandal, Rockstar was constantly in the crosshairs, accused of corrupting kids, promoting crime, and glorifying violence. But here's the thing, they never backed down. They doubled down, and their games only got bigger, bolder, and smarter. Because it feels like, for the first time in decades, the freedom that allowed Rockstar to make GTA 6 might be under a real threat again. Let's talk about the law that's sparking all of this. Mexico's government just passed a financial package, and hidden inside of it is something being called the Violent Video Game Tax. On paper, it sounds simple. A simple tax on games that feature violence, crime, or mature themes. But in practice, it's a slippery slope. Because once you start deciding what counts as too violent, you start deciding what stories can be told. And when you look at Mexico's gaming landscape, this hits hard. Over 104 million Mexico citizens play video games. That's nearly 80% of the population. The country generates more than 1.1 billion in annual gaming revenue, and it's home to some of the most passionate GTA players in the world. But now those players could be paying more just because their favorite games are considered violent. Even worse, if the tax passes, it could give other countries the green light to follow suit. That's where the real danger lies. Not in Mexico alone, but in what it represents. Because if Mexico does it, what's stopping Brazil, Australia, or even the UK, maybe even the US, from doing the same? We've already seen similar movements before, from Germany's historical bans on violent imagery, to Australia's restrictive content ratings, to China's outright censorship of anything deemed immoral. A tax like this could easily become the economic version of censorship. You don't ban the games, you just make them too expensive to sell. And that's what has GTA 6 fans worried. The game is already rumored to cost $100 at launch. Now imagine that plus a violence tax plus standard retail markups. In some countries, you could be paying over $130 for a single copy. That doesn't just hurt the player, it hurts Rockstar, Take-Two, and every other studio trying to make mature, story-driven experiences. Because if publishers start to believe that making violent video games costs them more in taxes and controversy, they'll stop making them altogether. But governments aren't the only ones adding pressure. Over the last few years, activist groups have re-emerged, and they've learned new tactics. One of the most prominent is Collective Shout, a group from Australia that's been campaigning against harmful content in games for over a decade. They made headlines back in 2014 when they launched a full-blown protest against GTA 5, claiming it encouraged players to murder women. And luckily, it didn't work back then. Gamers fought back and Rockstar stood firm. But now, they found a new way to make developers listen. Instead of attacking the games directly, Collective Shout went after the payment processors. Earlier this year, they pressured companies like PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard to block payments for certain offensive games on Steam. And it worked. Hundreds of smaller indie games vanished overnight. While that campaign mostly focused on games with adult content, it showed that financial pressure works. And now groups like Collective Shout are setting their sights on violent titles again. It's not about banning games anymore, it's about choking off the money. This all feels eerily familiar. If you were gaming in the early 2000s, you remember Jack Thompson. He was the lawyer who made it his personal mission to destroy Grand Theft Auto. He accused Rockstar of everything from corrupting kids to inciting murder. He He filed lawsuits, he went on TV, he called for bans, boycotts, and even criminal charges. And for a while, he succeeded in making the gaming industry feel like the bad guy. But here's the twist. Years later, after being disbarred, Thompson actually admitted the games had value. He even said he regretted how far things went. The man who once fought to have Grand Theft Auto banned now admitted the games could actually be a teaching tool. And that's the irony here. After 30 years of fighting the same battle, the data has been clear for decades. Video games don't cause violence. They don't create criminals, they tell stories, some ugly, some real, some satirical, but they're all art. And now we're watching the same panic cycle start again. And you know what's interesting? Every generation thinks it's protecting people by limiting art. Politicians in the 90s said it was about protecting kids. Today, it's about protecting social harmony. But the end result is the same. Creative voices get quieter. And this isn't just about Grand Theft Auto 6. If governments and corporations start defining what's too violent, what's next? Does Call of Duty get taxed for depicting war? Does The Last of Us get flagged for brutality? Does Cyberpunk 2077 get penalized for mature content? The irony is Rockstar has always used violence as satire. They've never glorified it, they've mocked it. And that's the whole point. When GTA 6 releases, we already know it's going to explore themes of corruption, inequality, and excess, just like every Rockstar title has before. And yet those same satirical reflections of society are now being treated as a public threat. It's like punishing a mirror because you don't like the reflection. So what happens next? If Mexico's tax passes, Rockstar will have a few options. They could eat the cost, unlikely given the budget of GTA 6 is already rumored to be around $2 billion. They could pass the tax on to consumers, which would make GTA 6 one of the most expensive games ever released. Or they could alter the game's content for that region, which starts to look a lot like censorship. And the worst part, it might not stop there. If countries see that taxing video games makes more money and wins political points, it'll spread fast. Before you know it, GTA 6, Red Dead 3, and even future Call of Duty titles could be caught in a web of global content taxes. And when that happens, you're not just taxing violence, you're taxing expression. What's poetic about all of this is that Rockstar predicted it. From Weasel News to the Life Invader satire, they've always poked fun at society's hypocrisy. They've shown how moral outrage is often just performance, and how power always finds a way to control culture. In a weird way, this situation almost feels like something straight out of a GTA 6 mission. So while this real-world censorship battle is frustrating, it's also fitting. Rockstar's always thrived in the chaos of controversy. And maybe, just maybe, they'll use this moment as inspiration. Still, there's no denying it. This feels like the end of something. For decades, Grand Theft Auto has stood as the symbol of unrestricted creative freedom. It pushed boundaries, it shocked people, and it forced conversations about society, culture, and morality. But now the walls are closing in. The age of the rebellious, unapologetic open-world crime game might come to an end. So what do you guys think? Should violent video games be taxed? Should governments have a say in what's too much? Or should we be protecting artistic freedom, no matter how controversial it gets? Let me know your take in the comments below. I'll be reading through all of them. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos just like this one. Alright, with that all out of the way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.